All right, welcome back to the Vault Report. I'm here with Richmond head coach Chris Mooney. How are you feeling, Coach? I know it's always a busy time, but you got a full roster now. How things?
Things are great. Thank you. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, it's changed so much because the spring has become, so intense and, so critical. As soon as your season ends, really the intensity of the transfer recruiting really picks up. And so, we're really pleased right now with where we are and also happy to be done with that part of the year.
Absolutely. And you talk about that busy time. I do want to briefly kind of just discuss last year's season. You guys, I think, were picked 11th in the coaches poll. Not that polls matter much, but just to, finish the year like you did, to bring home a title. Have you had time to reflect on that success, and how much has that helped you, in the portal?
Yeah, no, yeah, I would say we probably haven't had that much time to reflect on it, just because everything picks up so quickly and the portal kind of dominates all of your time and your thought process and planning. But now that we've been settled in a little bit to summer school, we've been able to think about it or review it. It's very exciting. Obviously, we were fortunate to be able to attract the guys that we were out of the transfer portal, and really fortunate that our guys who were here improved and worked really hard. So that was a great achievement, and I do think it has helped us this year. I feel like having won the A10 tournament in 22 and having been a tournament team and when the season was shut down. So I think the recent success, I think that always probably helps teams, just because your name is synonymous with these guys as very successful.
Absolutely. And you've been obviously synonymous with Richmond basketball, the program you've built. You've seen the changes, not just within the conference, right, but just in college basketball. What for you continues, your enjoyment? I do think there's a lot of negativity and there's a lot of obviously some rules that maybe need to be in place, but just how you are able to kind of adapt to this landscape and what brings you continued joy and success as it follows.
Well, I think, once your team is set and once you're with the guys on a day-to-day basis, whether that be in the summer or during the season, that part's very fun. Watching guys improve and kind of grow together as a team and start to understand what our particular program is teaching. That part's really fun and rewarding, and of course the games are exciting, and all of those things are fun. The league is great. Being with the team or being with the coaches is fun and great and rewarding, and that part has not changed. Everything else surrounding it has, but that part has not changed.
Yeah. And, retention, obviously, we'll talk about the portal. You do have, I think this is the most new additions you've had. You correct me if I'm wrong, in your career. But, specifically with a guy like Hunt coming back, the leadership that he provides, and also how you're able to, and how you guys were able to kind of build a roster around him. You also have someone like Mike who, had very valuable minutes last season, but just those pieces, retention, importance for you going into next year, having them.
Yeah, very important. I think that, for years before the portal, that was, one of our biggest strengths is having, retention, guys coming back, having an understanding of the program. Now I don't know if anybody has that anybody has mastered that in terms of retaining all of your key pieces. But certainly to have Delani come back, he's the leader of our team, captain of our team, a really impressive and true leader. So that's really great for us. He helped us win the championship last year in a big way. He really takes on as much responsibility as anyone I've ever been around. And he's a great guy. So I think that was I think Mike Wall's returning. Colin Tanner, who was a freshman, Mikkel Tyne, who played as a freshman. You always want to have your returning guys be a big part of the team. I think everybody's probably trying to blend in where you have returning guys, and your transfers, the returning guys you've just worked with, a year, 2 years, 3 years longer. And, it's if they can be a big part of the team and big part of the success, I think that's good for that team and then for future teams.
Absolutely. I'm not going to go down the line. I do appreciate the time. Like I said, I don't want to spend too much time. At this point, it is early on. But with this transfer haul, in the beginning, I know, one guy actually got to talk to George Washington the third. The importance for you in terms of not, obviously you're recruiting players, but also family, but you're doing it in such a short amount of time. But just speak about, kind of, again, your vision as you entered the portal and, maybe start with George Washington III, a guy from Michigan, a highly touted prospect, a great player coming into Richmond basketball, your vision for him.
Yeah, George is a really good player. Obviously, had a tremendous high school career and was recruited to Michigan among many other high major programs, and a very, very good shooter, scorer, really good sense for the game, which is always something that we look for, and a great kid. I mean, just a tremendous person to be around. Has been fun and hardworking since the day that he got here about a month ago. So, yeah, that was a great a great get for us because we saw him play in high school, and obviously, like many teams, really loved him. And then he played just a little bit at Michigan, and when he became available, he's the kind of guy that we'd like to say would have come to Richmond out of high school, had to broken a little bit differently. So a great guy, great energy, great shooter, and we think that he'll do very well here at Richmond.
Yeah, and another one again. I want to talk about Dusan. I think Neskovich. Correct me if I'm saying that wrong, but coming from Dartmouth, a guy who has proven score. You also add Beagle. I believe he was the American East Rookie of the Year. Guys that again have had not just potential, but are proven winners. Getting them into the system. What is your goal? Again, for not just them specifically, but this off season, but having guys like this. You had another guy from UConn, Rumaglu, experience on a winning championship team, but all guys coming in at different times have had different roles on different teams, but blending that together.
Yeah, that's interesting. I feel like once the guys are here, because they've gone through the recruiting process, whether it was fast or slow. But once they're here, they're just on a team again, and I think that part becomes not easy in any way, but that part becomes familiar, and then you're starting to say, hey, this is how we do our summer workouts. This is the way that we want to defend. These are the things that we emphasize, and of course, the guys who are older, even if it's slightly different from the way they've done it at their previous program, they understand that there is a way to do it. And so the maturity really helps. I think that, is for all the complications and frustrations with the transfer portal, the ability to attract good players who have been in college, performed, played well, competed, that those guys just have such incredible experience above and beyond an incoming freshman. So yeah, I think that part is terrific.
And last question, non-conference. I know, you've talked about this a lot in the past, but just this year, heading into this year, where do you feel like you guys are in the non-conference? I don't know if there's any news you can share, just in terms of maybe that's already been announced, but in just things you're working on as again you build kind of a complete non-conference schedule as you head into the gauntlet that is the Atlantic 10.
Yeah, that's another part that has changed so dramatically is the scheduling. You know, it's one thing that the high major conferences have gone to 20 games, but it's really hard to play them, even with the available games that they have. That's something that's been very frustrating. You're only really find out if your schedule is good enough on Selection Sunday, and that's if you've had an incredible season. So that's difficult. I wish there was some kind of scheduling, um, minister or or
Yeah.
someone in charge that could help. But that part's really difficult. We're working on a lot of things right now, and of course, the scheduling also has gotten much later because everybody's worried about their roster and putting together the roster. So, yeah, we're working on it. I don't really have anything new right now, but I can tell you we're working hard and try to play the best schedule we possibly can.
Definitely. Well, listen, coach, thank you. I hope we live in a world that's on to the next thing, but I do hope you get to kind of relish in what you guys were able to accomplish last season. But good luck this summer with the summer workouts, and we'll be in touch, but I appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Nathan. I really appreciate it. Have a good one.